Hello all, welcome to another endgame study of the Solving Other Studies to Improve Chess Calculation series. This one was created by the chess composer Oleg Pervakov and Alexander Gulaev. It's white to play and to win. As always, I suggest you watch the guide if you haven't, so you are better prepared for the practice. Then the 10-minute countdown will start, and I catch you up with the beginning of the guided solution. And let's go for the solution. This is going to be a fun one. Of course, from the initial position, we see, okay, black is threatening to promote the pawn in one and checking our king. So we may think, okay, although we can promote to the queen, this won't work because simply we promote. Now black promotes with check, so the initiative goes to black. Now the king moves, black promotes another pawn to a queen, so two queens over the board at the moment, and now black just chooses, okay, should I checkmate in one with the rook, or using the d queen, or using the queen. So black having all the fun in the world. We are just completely lost over here if you go directly for the promotion. So we start to think, okay, this is a really dangerous threat. I need to take care of it first, so let's go with the rook f1. But this doesn't work because black can simply check it with a rook. So now we are forced to take the pawn if we try to survive with at least a draw. Notice that going to the other side, going with the king e2 doesn't work because the rook just grabs our rook. And now you think, okay, but if I take the rook, then it's going to be check. Notice that after that, the black pieces can simply control the promotion. And if I promote directly, well, black is going to have fun again, checking the king moves up, checking it again. And notice how fun it is, but for black, not for us. And after a while, of course, it will be checkmate, just a fun checkmate. So coming back to the initial position, we see, okay, we can't use the rook on this side. Let's go with the rook behind the pawn, so threatening to promote, but from behind. Of course, black here just sacrificed the pawn, so forcing the rook to take it in h1, because after we have the rook going to b1 check, the king needs to move away, and suddenly we are just facing a draw. Now we can promote it, but we are going to lose the pawn anyway. So this is just a draw. Okay. And after a while, we see, okay, we don't have many options, and we need to see, okay, we need to sacrifice the knight. This is the brilliant continuation. We are first controlling the promotion of the pawn, so black doesn't have the option to promote, and of course, black will take the pawn, and so now we can finally promote our queen without the danger of not being controlling the promotion of the h pawn. So now it's black to play, and of course black can try not to promote the pawn directly and go with the rook b1 checking our king, but of course over here we just grab the other pawn, and black is not able to survive much more, even if it brings the queen over the board. Well, over here we are not going to take the queen. This will be just a bad idea. We are going for the checkmate. We just check it from the diagonal. So here we have some options. Let's say we go with the rook blocking the king. Well, we just check it from the other side. Notice that we need to protect the rook, so we bring it over here. But now the queen just comes again from the diagonal, checking the king. So the king needs now to move away from the rook. And of course, after that, we just have a checkmate. So it's not going to help black anymore, the blocking of the king. And of course, going to the other side, well, not enough, because we are able to go with another check. The king moves inside to b2. Now we check it again with the queen, so the queen simply approaches the king, and after a while it's just not going to be possible for black to survive. So basically, coming back to the start, we see immediately that, okay, black can't save the game with rook b1. But black, of course, finds a different idea. It first promotes the pawn to the queen, so of course forcing us to accept it. And of course, over here we can't go again with rook b1, because we think, okay, we are going to grab the queen in one, but we will find, of course, this brilliant idea, which is, okay, you can take my queen because I am going to checkmate you in one. So the rook can't grab the queen, so it's just a matter of time for the rook to give up. Even if we are able to check it a bit more, it will reach a point where we have the queen over the board, and black is in a big trouble. It's going to lose very fast from here. Okay, so we can't go with black with a simple move. So black finds very interesting research. It plays g2 double exclamation mark black is playing the best defensive moves. So now we are going to stop the position again. Another minute for you. Pause if you need more. What is the correct continuation for white from here? And let's see why this pawn move is a brilliant one from the defense, why it's so hard to play against it. Because if we accept the pawn, well, I don't think this is hard to see. Black is just going to check our king. If the king takes the pawn, well, we check it again, the king moves, and we get rook versus rook endgame, so not possible for white to survive that. So let's check the king again. If the king tries to avoid going into that kind of skewer. Well, black just promotes the other queen. The king moves away. Of course, now it's check. But we are not going to be able to checkmate black. It's going to be another draw. We have even material on the board, so not possible. And going with the king to the other side, well, maybe you think, okay, if you promote to the queen would be enough because we just move the king away and it checks what kind of position we are having here. Is this a win? This is a draw? Well, this is a win because we can checkmate the king, of course. After it moves, we are going to just checkmate it in one, or if it comes to the side, or if it blocks with any piece. But this is not the correct way for black to play. Black will first check the king, so the king coming down is not going to work. We are just going to repeat the check, so the king comes up and black can find another promotion, a very smart under promotion to a knight. So checking the king moves and then black grabs our queen. And so we get this position, which is still a draw. So not going to be able to take the pawn. What is the correct move from white? And white thinks again in other options. Let's say we are just going to go with rook a4. This doesn't work. The king just comes to b3. Now I am forced to check it again, and I am in fact lucky to survive with a draw. We are just going to have perpetual checks over here. So it's just by luck that we save the game. Other options we have, it's for example to go with the queen g1. This is also an important variation we should consider, because when the rook comes to b1, we are able to go with the king c2. And because we are in a place of being possible to checkmate in one, black needs to be very smart over here. So it's black to play. You have 1 minute. I don't think this is hard, but you need to really play with precision, also from the defense perspective. So it's black to play and to draw from here. 1 minute, pause if you need more. I don't think it's hard, but if you went with the rook taking the queen, well, checkmate in one, not possible. And if you went with the rook checking the king, well, the king just goes up. And how can you survive this one? We are just going to win it again with white. So not the precision that we went with to finish this one. And if you promote the queen, well, we just can't take it because if you take back, it's just going to be another checkmate. So black only has one option over here, which is, of course, to play rook c1 exclamation mark. Now, if the queen takes the rook, we are just going to promote the other queen and forcing the king to take, and then we promote queen versus rook. And if you are following my channel for a while, you already know that I'm going to promote the Queen versus Rook endgame series. Don't forget, precisely, precision is the secret to win these endgames. And let's go back a bit and see the main option, which is going, of course, to take the pawn. Now we grab the queen, but of course white will still have rook g4, so we are controlling the situation. We are just going to finish in a draw, which is not good for white, but of course was the intention from black. So let's come to the beginning. You already see many options from white not working, so we need to find the correct one, which is to go with the queen h2. Queen h2 exclamation mark. Only way to go for a win from here. Not easy one. Well, black can try more or less two moves over here. One of them, it's interesting. It's just to force the queen to take our queen as black. So from here now checking the king, but of course in this situation, which look okay, the rook will take our queen again. Well, the king has this last resource. You remember this one. We are just threatening to checkmate in one. So if black takes, it's just going to be checkmate. So black is forced to go with rook b2, but now we go up, another check, we come down, whatever. In the end, it will be a win for white for sure if black tries this. Interesting, but not enough for black to save the day. And so black goes with the expected, of course, rook b1 check. It's white to play again. So over here, it's not a big deal. We just take the pawn. Notice that there is no check and grabbing the queen because the g2 pawn has not yet promoted. Of course, black can now promote to a queen. So it's white to play again. And what is the correct continuation from here for white to go on for a win? Not a hard one, I believe, but let's stop the clock another minute and then find out what is the move. And I don't think it's that hard, but we need to find it with precision. We just go with the king c3, so delivering a discover check, and the idea is simple. If the queen takes, well, we just checkmate it in one, which is always fun. But of course, let's see what happens if we play a dumb move like going with the king d3. This makes no sense because now the queen just can take it and there is no checkmate anymore, so it's just a win for white. And if you accept the queen, well, it's just going to be a simple draw. There are no big deals over here, so we just need to force it and go with directly. king c3 check exclamation mark. Let's see what's going to happen over here. Of course, black is not going to accept the queen. It's going to play king a3. And now final moment for you to get really joy on this one. Find the last move from white to finish this in style as we like. And let's finish this in style with a queen sacrifice, of course. It's the most fun way to finish this one. The king is forced to accept, of course, and then we use our last rook, our last piece over the board to finish it with a checkmate. Well, this was a long path from the beginning, a really interesting study again, and hope you have enjoyed. And as always, catch you up with future videos. Bye bye and keep checking. Don't forget.